Seance. I too very seriously took my oath to defend and uphold the Constitution of the United States very seriously. One of the things that I'm seeing right now is that we are, I would say, probably in the most critical time in U.S. history right now. Because what's happening now, we actually went to war over this, okay? But not too many people heard of this war, okay? It's called World War II. And I know hardly anybody's heard of that. But during World War II, there was this guy named Hitler. And what he did was, there's a lot of parallels from what happened then and what's going on right now. And a lot of Americans don't realize that. What Hitler's doctors, and Hitler's public health officials did was that they told the Jewish Germans that they were spreaders of disease. That was a lie. That was a lie. What's going on with the unvaccinated now is they're telling the unvaccinated people that they're spreaders of disease, and that's also a lie. As a matter of fact, the virologists are coming out right now and they're coming to find out that it's actually the vaccinated people that are shedding and spreading this disease. Some of us might not be good at math, some of us might not be good at English, but all of us could determine a chart and a graph pretty easily, I think, right? So what they're coming to see on these graphs and charts from a lot of the most vaccinated places in the United States and across the world is that the COVID incidences are directly proportional to when people get vaccinated. A picture says 1,000 words, but I digress. Let's go back to history again. What else is happening what else happened in the past that we're being discriminated for? Hitler, he had the Jewish German businesses boycotted. He took their very livelihoods, their very means to support their families away from them and had them thrown in ghettos. That's what's going on right now, okay? The other thing that's going on that he did was he banned the Jewish Germans from going to public places like theaters, okay? Restaurants. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
Absolutely.
And the very last thing that they did was they forced these, not just the Jewish Germans, but also the war prisoners, to take experimental medications and vaccines. Does that sound familiar? What I find very disturbing right now is that if you look at France, they have tens of thousands of people in droves protesting. And I'm not saying that we don't have those people out there now just because I can't physically see them now. But we should be like that because it is important. Because what Hitler did was he changed laws little by little. If you take any Holocaust victim from World War II, what they come out and they say is that's how that tyrant Hitler changed those laws little by little by little by little, while people just stood by watching what happened because they were too afraid to speak out. We are Americans! We are Americans! And I love this country. I said I would die for this country. I love this country. And I'm not saying that other people aren't. I'm just saying at least have the courage to speak up. And one last thing I want to say, I'm also a Christian. One last thing I want to say is I had the privilege of going to church last night while we still have that privilege, okay? I'm not sure if you heard about what's happening in Canada, but there was a preacher in Canada who got arrested for having church service, and guess what? For trying to warn the United States about what's happening over there. And guess what? Guess how many years he's facing? 4 to 6 years. Does that sound like something American? That sounds communist to me.
Yes, sir. Yeah, right.
But I went to church last night, and I had the pleasure and honor and I think it was divine intervention of being able to speak with some Ukrainian people there. And they told me something that was very alarming. They said that the communism that they saw in Russia the propaganda that they saw on the TV that they ignore, that people are just eating up right now, they just ignore it over there. But they see that right here, and one of the warnings that they gave me is they don't think we have much time. We are in a very critical part of the United States history. We need to spread the news. We need to make the stand now. One of our greatest generals, Douglas MacArthur, said, there is no substitute for victory. And in this battle, this fight, there is no substitute for victory because they're coming for our kids. If you see California, they're coming for the kids. Newsom's coming for the kids right now. Unless you got, what is it, $140 million to contribute to his political campaign, then all of a sudden you don't have to vaccinate your kids then. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you for your service. You guys, the world, you guys, this is about